Hello, my friend. My name is Anton from Connect.com, and today is the fifth session of our Code Express series. In the Code Express series, as you know, we're speaking about the Python and the introduction level of the Python. I mean, for the network engineers, for those of you who has some knowledge in the networking, in the routing, in the switching, and the VPNs and all other stuff, and want to expand your knowledge in the code and automation area. We have spoken already in our training about the variables, single variables, I mean separate variables of different types. We have already spoken about the list variables, and today we will merge two topics together, meaning we will speak about how you could convert a list variable into a set of separate variables and back. So as usual, we are working with our VM running CentOS of the 7 version and Python 3.8.1. You have seen I have started preparation. So let's go to the folder with our training. So this is a Code Express CEX. We go further into the folder I have already prepared 0.5. We don't have any files yet there because I have removed it previously for us. And let's create a new file which would contain the link, or not the link which we will use in our session today. We will speak about the conversion here and there. So we create a file that would call wars.py. We start with a shebang providing the path to the Python 3.8. And that's it. Before we start working, so to give you some exposure, we will use today the two major functions. The first is split. So the function split is used to separate any string variable based on a certain separator value into an array, into a list. And the second function is join, it working other way around. So it is joining the array into a single string variable. Let's start with the split. So what we do now, we we create a temporary variable, not the temporary, we just create a normal variable with the content of the string. So let's say it's input string. It would be string value. So we need to think about what type of separator we should use to split the elements between each other. One of the most popular these days is CSV format, so comma separate value, where their variables, or in general their values, are separated from each other using columns. It's a very popular format, and it is a vendor independent format. So I mean, it works in the Microsoft Excel, it's working in the text editor, I mean even in the Vim, and it's like the presentation of the table where each column is represented in the form of values separated by commas. We'll create some sort of the string. Let's say it is PE1 BLN DE, then comma Equinix, for example FR5, then any sort of IP address. Then we might even have some missing values, and then one more, let's say, providing the type of the network element. So we have created a string, so that we will work with this string basically to verify that our split function is working. So split function is applied to this string, and then output of the split function is array, and the split function is applying to a certain string. You will see right now how, and the input for the function itself is separator, so the value which we take to split our string into a separate element. So let's call it dev param, so devices parameters, and the function, the output of the function would be input string. We apply the function split, so much in the same way like we was previously working with the format function, as you remember, and the input to this split function would be comma. So basically what we should have on the outcome, we should have each and every element out of this string, including the empty one, assigned to as an element of the list, and each element should have a certain index. Let's check if that is working properly. So we take a print function, and we will verify the content of the def param, so assuming it is parsed properly. So we say print the parsed values are. We provide here, as usual, the template entry, and we are using the format function to provide the output of our string, or sorry, of our array inside. That is our function. So basically we have, or we assume, we split the input string based on the comma, so our separator, into an array, and want to print the output of the array. Let's execute it. I need to make the file executable. You remember how we are doing this. If not, take a look on the second video, and we execute it. And as you see, we have right now the 5 elements in our array, starting with element 0. We have a first element, which is contained the hostname of our device, second, where our device is built, for instance, a Quinix data center, and then we have some sort of IP address, and we have an empty string because we have 2 commas in a row without elements in between, and the last type. So you could have any element as a separator, and we could continue this. Say we would like to split the IP address into 2 separate elements, like IP address itself and the prefix. So, and we will use right now a bit different approach. So you could, if you would like, to assign the outcome of the split function not only to single element. If it is single element, it would be array, but you might also provide the exact number of the element, which is what would be the outcome of the split function application to a certain element. And if this element is matching, then each and every element will be assigned a specific value. To highlight how this works, we will create 2 variables. So IP address, then IP prefix, equal the output of the, we will take, so 0, 1, 2, the second element of our array, or of our list. So second element, we apply the split function to it, and this time the separator would be slash. So the assumption is that this IP address, so this is the second element, or the third element, actually, the element with ID, with index 2 in our list, we split this string using the slash, so this element as a separator, into 2 variables. The first one would contain the left part of the string, and the second should contain the second part of the string. Let's check if it is working. So again, we use the format is string, and we put that the IP is with the prefix, and at the input, the format function, we provide IP address and IP prefix values. All right, let's execute the script one more. Hooray, so that's working properly. The second, the third element, the element with index 2 out of our array of this element, is split using the separator as a slash into 2 elements, and these elements are represented here. So pay attention, this function works when the amount of the elements on the right hand side is equal to the amount of the elements on the left hand side. So if they are not equal, then might be issues. Basically, they might be, there will be issues, and this element would be not, the function would not be working properly. So the second function we will take a look right now is opposite to the split, and the function is join. So the join function the syntax of this function is completely different, or it's not like completely different, it's perhaps properly to say complete opposite to our split function. So let's create a variable that would be final string, and the way how the join function is created, so we put as a string the separator, so let's say it would be the same comma. Then we apply the function join to this separator, or aggregate, this way you could call it, and the input to the join function should be an array. So we take this def param, so array that we have created as an outcome of the split function execution, and we put this array as an input to the join function. So you see the syntax is completely opposite. With the split function, we apply the function to a string. As the input to function, we put a separator. With the join, we apply the function to a separator or aggregator, and we put the array as an input, or the list as an input to this function. Let's check if it is working properly. We could say print the final string is, and inside this function we provide our array. Let's execute it one more time. No, I think I have made a mistake. I need to change this from def params to a final string, and now it should be working properly. Yes, you see the final string comes at the comma separated values exactly in the same way how this string was before we have split it into the pieces. All the values are merged together, also including the empty string. So this element is also merged in the way like it should be, like it was in the original string. So you see the function join is working perfectly, completely opposite to split, but sometimes you need this opposition. The last point that we will cover in this video, you might want to put just a couple of separate values as an input to your string, and the input to the string would be not the input to the string, the input to the join function. But the join function requires that you have a single element or single argument as an input to the function. So in order to overcome this limitation, we might want to create the following construction. So we'll say IP address prefix. We create using the slash as an aggregator. We take join, so the function. As I said, we need to provide a single argument which is of list type. So that's why we could provide, we could put the square brackets which equals for the list, and manually we list here the elements of this list. So basically, such a construction means that we provide the array or list, and we have defined two elements in this list. This is the first element, this is the second element. And if this construction works properly, we should have a single string IP address prefix, so single variable which contains both merged values. Let's verify this. Print the IP and prefix is, and using the same format function, we try to take a look what we have created so far. Let's execute our script one more time. And here we go. You see that the value right now is merged. It is a single element. So using this construction, so where we put brackets defining the square brackets defining the list and listing the elements inside, we are creating the proper variable single merge string. So summing up what we have discussed today, there are two very useful functions which are working with the transition from array to string and back. The first is split, which allows you to split a single string based on a certain separated value in a list of the elements, where each element has a certain ID, and the split is done based on separated value. Join is working other way around. It allows you to merge and list into a single string using a predefined symbol, the predefined meaning symbol you define, into a list, into a string which you could use as a single entity. So that's what we have discussed today, and thank you for your attention. If you like this video, subscribe, put your like on the social medias, distribute it anywhere where you want on the social medias, and see you on the next video. Take care. Bye-bye.